As many of you know, I decided for 2026 to shoot more film, black and white film, medium format in my C220, Mamiya C220, and of course 35 millimeter. Now my original plan was to shoot more 120 film, but as it turns out, I've been shooting a lot more 35 millimeter. And the reason for that is we had a snowstorm. I didn't want to take the Mamiya out in that. I shot some pictures over the holidays at a family Christmas party. And more recently, we just got back from a 3-day trip to Biloxi, Mississippi. And I decided to take my FM and just 3 prime lenses. And this is going to be my primary 35 millimeter kit now. So it's the FM with the 50 millimeter 2.0 AI lens, the 24 millimeter 2.8 AIS, these are all Nikon lenses, and surprisingly, the Series E 100 millimeter 2.8. So why the 100 2.8 and not the 105 2.5, which is a legendary lens? I just wanted to keep size and weight down. And this little kit doesn't weigh that much. It's easy to carry around. And I just put everything into this little bag I had got free with a purchase I made several years ago. I don't even remember. It was probably at Arama or maybe B&H. But everything fits nicely into this bag. I took about a half a dozen rolls of black and white film. I had shades for each of the lenses and just some cleaning supplies, microfiber and some lens tissue. And it worked out really well. So, like I said, we were there for 3 days, and each morning I went out with my entire kit. That's the other thing that is nice. I could fit everything in that bag and just take it with me. But I really ended up shooting with the 50 more than anything else. I did shoot a good bit with the 100. I think I shot maybe 2 frames with the 24. It just didn't lend itself to wide-angle lenses what I was shooting. If I had been in a big city with skyscrapers or out with some beautiful landscape, I probably would have used the 24 a lot more. But it just, the situation, the subjects I was shooting just didn't lend themselves to a 24. And the 50, back when I first got started in 35 millimeter over 50 years ago, of course that was the first lens I owned. Back then cameras all came with a 50 or a 55. In fact, my first normal lens was a 55 millimeter Takumar for my Pentax H1A. And then when I went to Nikon in 1972, in late 72, and my Nicormat came with a 51.4. And then the next lens I bought, I wanted the 105, but my dealer in South Philadelphia didn't have the 105 in stock, so I picked up the 35-2.8, and then several months later got the 105. So that was my basic kit back then. So this is very similar, except instead of a 35, I have the 24. And I plan on sticking with this kit for a while. I'm not crazy about using zoom lenses on a manual focus film camera. I just prefer primes. Of course, they're smaller, they're lighter, and I really don't like focusing a zoom, especially a push-pull zoom, on a manual focus camera. And I spoke about that in a video sometime last year. So I think it worked out really well. So the first morning I went out, I had T-Max 400 loaded, and I have not shot with T-Max 400 in well over 20 years. And Just shot the one roll that day, and I went in one direction. I went west, and on the second day, I went north from where we stayed, and on that day, I shot two rolls of film. I shot a roll of HP 5 Plus, 400 speed film, and then the light got a little brighter, sun came out a little bit, so I put in a roll of FP4, a 125 speed film. Now on the third day, it was a little darker, kind of cloudy, a little chilly, so I had to put on a jacket, and I came out of the hotel and went east. And because it was a little darker, no sun at all, I loaded a roll of HP 5 Plus and set my ISO to 800. So I was pushing it one stop. Now I've pushed that film 2 stops before. It works out well. Of course, the grain increases and so does the contrast, but I think it worked out well for the subjects I was photographing. And I used, for about the first half of the roll, I used the 50 and then the 100 for the second half of the roll. Let me just say a little something about these lenses, especially the two that I use the most, the 50 and the 100. The 52.0 AI, I haven't owned that long. I think I got it when I purchased a camera. I don't even remember. But I've never shot it before. And it worked out really well. The focus on it is a little loose, so I prefer that to it being stiff. You know, some of these old lenses need to be re-lubricated and the focus is stiff, but not this one. It was a little loose, but that wasn't an issue. And I'm really pleased with the quality of the images from this lens. This was the last 52.0 Nikon made, the AI. They never went with an AIS version of this lens. And it's very sharp. It's also a good lens to use for close-up photography. It works very well reversed or on extension tubes, much better than a 51.4. So very happy with the results. The 100 2.8 Series E I picked up really cheap and shot a few test images when I first got it, but really haven't used that one either. And I have a 105-25. It's an extremely sharp, beautiful lens. Like I said earlier, I just wanted to keep weight, size down, and this lens is perfect, and it worked out extremely well. Now the rear element on this lens has a little bit of fungus and a little bit of coating loss, but I really didn't see any issue with the images. So I think I need to do a little bit of further testing on this lens with a portrait subject to see, but its focus is very smooth, and again, that small size and weight is great. Now the shades, I had shades for all the lenses. For the 50 2.0, I had the recommended Nikon shade. For the 24 2.8, however, Nikon recommends the HN1. I use an HN2, which is for the 28. I have found over the years that you could go one size larger with the shade, so a deeper shade, and it gives you more shading without vignetting. Again, test that for yourself. For the 100 2.8, I don't have the Nikon shade. I have just the generic 50mm metal shade, and you know, that worked out well. I really wasn't shooting into the sun anyway. There wasn't much sun, so that worked out very well. I've been a digital shooter for many years, and one of the great things with digital is that every time you take a picture, your focal length, your aperture, your shutter speed, your ISO, all of that is recorded in the data in the file. So it's great to be able to look back and know what you did. that's not the case with a film camera. So I guess I should have made notes, but that's kind of a pain to stop and make notes. After every picture you take, you may miss something when you're doing that. But so I am not really sure in all these pictures which ones were shot with the 50. I mean, some I know, of course, but I don't know on every single frame which lens I had. And usually you could tell, but I don't know the apertures. I know primarily I shot at 5.6. I know I tried to keep my shutter speed at least 1/125th of a second, at least with the 100 focal length, with the 100 millimeter Series E lens. And with the 50, I still tried to stay at 1/125th, but some were shot at a 60th. Like I said, though, primarily my aperture on those two lenses was at 5.6. And I am not as steady as I used to be hand holding a camera, especially when you get used for years to having lenses with built-in vibration reduction, or with the mirrorless camera with IBIS. So I am not nearly as steady as I used to be. I used to be able to hold a 50 millimeter lens at a 30th of a second, sometimes even a 15th. I can't do that anymore, so I try to keep my shutter speed up there a little bit. But overall I'm pleased. I then scanned these images, or I guess a better word is digitize these images with my Nikon Z8 and ES2 Nikon film digitizer, and adjusted them in Photoshop and Lightroom, and tried to get the best image I could. So I edited them down to these 40 to 50 images you're seeing here. And overall, I'm very pleased. I haven't gotten around to making prints yet, but I will be making some prints of my favorites. And I am really happy to be back shooting film. And like I said, it's not going to be what I will primarily shoot. It's just too expensive. It's a much slower process. You have to process the film, digitize them, or then make black and white prints. But as I said many times, I feel the best way to view black and white photography is in a fiber-based print, traditional darkroom print, and that's what I will be doing. But of course, I still will be shooting primarily digital, especially for my professional work. So I am really happy to be back shooting black and white film in a Nikon FM. Now I have an F2AS, which was my primary film camera, although in recent years I have not shot much film. But the lighter weight, the smaller size of the FM, and it does everything I need. I don't need interchangeable screens. With the lenses I'll be using with this FM, the case screen that is standard in the camera works out great. I love the split image. Again, I'm used to autofocus, so it's a little harder for me to focus a manual camera again, although I'm getting better at it as I do it more. But I really like the split image, especially with the wide angle lenses. And so it's really great to be back shooting more film. Now, I'd like to hear what your thoughts are when shooting film. Are you using prime lenses? Do you have a little basic kit that you take with you? And another thing, it was really nice getting on the plane and putting this little camera bag under the seat rather than my normal big donkey bag. And it's lighter, takes up less space, and I just carried everything around with me when I went out shooting. I didn't need to leave anything back at the hotel. So let me know what you think. Let me hear your comments or questions on this video. Leave them in the comments below. I always try to respond to all questions and comments. And I usually come out with a new video every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you soon.